What is the craziest thing you have witnessed in jail? I was in county jail, having committed a crime and been denied bail. Since the jail was overcrowded, certain inmates were transferred to other jails throughout the state. I was one of those inmates. Before I got transferred, I got to know some guys. Everyone was pretty peaceful, and mostly enjoyed gambling their commissary on card games. There was this young kid named Shelby, locked up for possession of a hard substance charge. He was a young guy, maybe 25, very frail, and very well off. His parents sent him $50 every week to buy commissary stuff. You can buy a metric ton of ramen noodles for $50. He did, and he loved to gamble it away. He paid his debts, and all was well. My day comes to be transferred, since it's a Wednesday. The inmates tell me I'm most likely going to Pelham County Jail. They tell me to be careful because it's a messed up place. Anyway, the transfer took 4 hours of driving, a straight shot to Pelham County, South Georgia. We pull up to this place, and it doesn't even look like a jail. It's some ragged-looking building that looks like it may fall down. It's also tiny. I hope I make it out of here alive. But it gets much worse. They book us in, take fingerprints, change our jumpsuits to theirs, prison stripes, black and white. Then they walk us down to different cell blocks. There are 5 of us, all white. Me and another guy are left, and we are escorted to the last cell block, D block. It's just a big metal door at the end of the hallway. It's loud behind that door. Whatever is going on behind it, it gets louder with every step. In my fear and disbelief that I will be behind the door for the next 6.5 months, it's really messing with me. We get to the door, and it opens immediately. The opening is filled with faces asking for things. Yeah, I need a phone call. Let me get some nail clippers. When is the nurse gonna be here? Just questions and requests. Not one of those faces was white. It was all black heads, gold teeth, and face tattoos. You can only imagine what was running through my mind. I thought to myself, well, I'm screwed. Better put on my battle shoes. I walked in, and there were cells lined up against each wall, 5 on each side. The other white guy I came with was way ahead of me, almost at the end of the cell block, looking for an empty bed to claim. I'm holding all my stuff, just beyond the threshold of the main door, just kind of looking around, not knowing where to even begin. Did I mention how loud it was here? All of a sudden to my left I hear, hey white boy, get in here. I look, and it's a massive white dude, older, and he is laughing. Thank God. I pretty much ran in there and threw my stuff down. We introduced ourselves. He gave me a cigarette and welcomed me to the cell block, gave me the rundown. We were cool. I'm kind of a big dude, 190 pounds, and I'm in really good shape. I suppose I look like I could mess something up, so no one messed with me or my cellmate. He was about 52, covered in tattoos, and was in the Outlaw Motorcycle Club. He was there for trafficking substances. Some weeks go by, and I see it's pretty rowdy there. There are a few fights, nothing serious, but for the most part, if you mind your own business, you're fine. But these are a bunch of savages. This one black guy keeps trying to talk to me. He was in for murder and told me a story. He was homeless and ended up ending this other guy with his hands over some substances. He seemed all right at first, but I could tell instantly that he was a little off, like he had mental problems. He was in pretty good shape for being homeless, good genes, I guess. The thing was, one day he said something weird to me, something along the lines of, you're a good-looking fella. You shouldn't be in a place like this. It's when he said that, and the way he said it, that I knew he was gay. I distanced myself. A few weeks later, on a Wednesday, our door pops open just before dinner, and in walk a few white guys from the county jail I was in before. This well. Mr. Shelby walks right by myself without even noticing me, fixated on his dire situation of being in this place. He knew he was about to be eaten alive. I also knew I couldn't associate with him because he was not built for this. He was weak, and he had nothing to offer that was worth anything to me. So Shelby thinks his best way to survive in this place is to start gambling all of his food away, making friends by purposely losing his card games and paying his debts happily. Becomes so friendly, he starts giving away to people cups of coffee, cigarettes, food, snacks, and basically becomes the guy you can ask for anything, and he will just give it to you without expecting a payback. Guess who one of his cellmates was? Yup, The gay homeless swole black guy that sent someone to the afterlife. Here is where this becomes something I will never forget. I noticed this homeless guy always has a cup of coffee at all times of the day. He is always snacking on something too. He doesn't gamble. He doesn't have a family sending him money for commissary. How and why does he always have some coffee and snacks? At the point when I noticed this, Shelby has been here for about 3 weeks, and it seems like he has made a bunch of friends. He spoke to me briefly once, just to say what's up. I kept it short and cold. One day, I'm watching TV. Shelby comes up to me and whispers, while pointing to his cell, that this freak keeps stealing his stuff. He just goes into my box and gets whatever he wants. He doesn't even ask me, he just takes it. I take a walk by his cell to see who he is talking about, and sure enough, it's the homeless guy. I walk back to my spot at the TV without being noticed until Shelby asks me, "So why are you telling me about it? Handle your business and make him stop." He then asks me what he should do. I say, okay, if I was you, I'd go in there and crack his head open, grab all the stuff including him, and kick him off the cell block. Put that dude on the door. What Shelby does next is moronic. He walks into the cell. The homeless guy is sitting on Shelby's bed, eating a honey bun and drinking coffee. Shelby just yells at him, saying, "Oh, I'm sick of you eating all my stuff and drinking my coffee without asking me. It's BS. You need to stop. That's some lame stuff that you're doing." Everyone saw it and heard it. Then he walks out of the cell, looks up at me with a smile and a sense of accomplishment, and walks around over to the TV. From where I am now standing, I can see into Shelby's cell. The homeless guy is taking off his jumpsuit and tying up his tennis shoes. He is preparing for a fight. Shelby is too dumb to notice. A few minutes go by, and Shelby goes over to his cell to get some food or something out of his cell and is met with a square punch right to his mouth. He said nothing, just drilled Shelby one time, and Shelby walked back out, holding his bleeding mouth. He was too scared to retaliate, and a homeless man now had free rein to take Shelby's stuff whenever he wanted, and he did for the next several days. Shelby started to look beat up. He was only hit in the mouth as far as I knew, but the next day, he now had a busted lip and a black eye. It kept getting worse. A few days passed, and now he had 2 black eyes and an even worse busted lip. What is going on? No one ever saw what he was getting hit. It must be happening at night when we get locked down. Remember, they are cellmates. There are 5 people in a cell, so at least 3 other people know what's happening to him at night. About a week and a half goes by, and Shelby is looking horrible. He looks beat up, tired, and he isn't gambling anymore. While me and the outlaw biker are chilling in our cells, smoking a cig, Shelby's other cellmates come up to us. They are black. They say, hey, y'all need to do something, man. Y'all need to help Shelby. I say, If the dude is just controlling Shelby and taking his food, that's his problem. We don't really care. But their response was disgusting. They said, nah man, it's worse than that. He is slipping the guy every night now. The dude has a knife and threatens to end Shelby if he doesn't slurp him. So now I understand why Shelby is so gone, why he has that 1,000-yard stare, beat up all the time. It all makes sense now. Well, we can't have that type of stuff on our cell block, and all the blacks are down with what me and my biker friend are about to do to this homeless guy. Almost immediately, we walk into Shelby's cell and start stopping this guy, stopping the life out of him. He is trying to cover his face, but our boots penetrate his defenses like they aren't even there. All of our anger at this justice system, all of our rage, and how we are treated by the corrections officers, every ounce of anger is taken out on this dude. You want to force this kid to slurp you? You're a predator, not now. Now you belong to us. Shelby is there, curled up on his bunk bed, watching. I notice this homeless guy's teeth are missing, and there is fluid coming from his eyes, mouth, and nose. Not just a little, he is leaking. The other black guys are saying to stop, that we might kill him. I don't want a life charge, so I stop. My friend doesn't. I start grabbing all of this guy's belongings, dragging it all to the front door of the cell block. I dump all of his belongings into Shelby's cell. It all belongs to Shelby now. We rip the homeless guy's shoes off of him. They are Shelby's now. We strip him down clothless and drag him to the front door of the cell block. I bend over him, look him in the eyes, and tell him, You better mule kick this door until a corrections officer opens it, and you better get off our block. I get up and give him one last kick. It was a good one. As I saw him gasping for air afterwards, I yell to Shelby, asking him if he wants to get some hits in before this jerk leaves. No response. My friend and I tell the homeless man to start kicking the door. He slowly gets up and does. It's not long before an officer angrily opens up the door, and the dude basically falls out in front of her. She sees what's happened and knows that D Block has unified to kick him off the block, and that she better hurry. Backup is right behind her, and then they drag him the rest of the way out. He is gone. We go back and talk to Shelby, give him some smokes, and tell him sorry we didn't do that sooner. We just didn't know what was going on, and at some point, he should have come to us. Even though his problems were not our concern, there are some things that are just preposterous, and force slurping was one of them. When I finally left Pelham, I really felt like Shelby was in good hands. He was the token white boy who had been through enough. I never saw or heard of him again. He did thank me before I left. I gave him a hug and told him to always fight, no matter what. As I walked out of the jail, I couldn't help but think about the events that had transpired. The brutality, the violence, the sheer disregard for human life. It was a world within a world, a society governed by its own rules and norms. And I had been a part of it, if only for a brief time. I thought about Shelby, and the countless others like him, trapped in a never-ending cycle of violence and fear. I thought about the homeless guy, and the depths of depravity he had sunk to. And I thought about myself, and the things I had done to survive. I knew I would never forget my time in Pelham, and the lessons I had learned. I had seen the worst of humanity, but I had also seen the best. I had seen the resilience of the human spirit, the ability to adapt and survive in even the most hostile of environments. As I walked away from the jail, I felt a sense of hope. Hope that one day, things would change. Hope that one day, the system would be fixed, and people like Shelby would no longer be trapped in a world of violence and fear. But until that day, I knew that I would carry the memories of Pelham with me, a reminder of the darkness that lurked within every human heart, and the strength that it took to overcome it. I lit a cigarette, taking a long drag as I walked away from the jail. I knew I would never forget this place, and the people I had met here. They had changed me forever.